teams on edge, or one of the only teams. But now, as we saw, Fnatic is also holding them out while Aurora was there, and they were looking to fight these guys. But if you can't take the isolated 3v3, you're gonna get caught apart.
Custom teams taking fights again. Red Rams looking for their second 3v3 since they dropped one at the beginning of the game, but it's up against TYK. Tico Champ's already used Horizon Ultimate, and it does mean that there's not a real engage tool. It'll be a crack or nothing for Red Rams to continue the fight in a positive direction.
Yeah, like the same way like I said about the
Perhaps take a little step ahead of Disguise. Let's see how Disguise deal with it in their coming rotation as we jump into a listen-in with them.
I'm ulting.
They're on the outside of the building.
Yep.
They're fucked.
Crossing.
I'm kind of ulting.
They ulted.
Yeah. Hold them there.
I get you.
Crack
60 on one.
Flush.
Scanning.
Blood close. Ult on him.
Can you?
Yep.
Blood. Bang was very low.
Are you with me? Can you show me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Blood
dead.
How's it?
Crack.
I'm waiting. Walk up.
I'm killing Caustic.
On the rock. Hey, wait, there's come in.
Dead.
I farm Caustic.
I'm walking forward.
Betting.
I'm walking forward. Come to me down low if you can.
Coming.
Safe on me. Team to my right.
Yeah, I'm popping right. Punish me. I might die.
I'm going across the water.
Brother.
I'm split holding. They're to the right.
I'm going left.
Go to me.
Yep.
I'm not kidding. I'm QC.
Yep, same.
Watch left. Scan left.
I already scan. I can drop it back. Give me a second.
Left in a second.
I got
Drop it back.
I'm watching right
too.
Betting. Someone down us on the left.
Yeah,
I'm scanning. I scanned.
No, never mind.
We need nades for that.
We got escape from left.
Yeah,
Go.
we need nades for that.
Nades.
I'm walking forward on this.
We're safe, right? We're safe. Just sit here.
I see somebody right in front of us.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Somebody's right here.
Toxic gas
Yep.
over there.
Just show there's a team on height.
What's left? We need to start working
I'm
left.
scanning now. Nothing left.
No. There's a corner. You can look up on the rock. You can see.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, I'm coming.
We need to chill them.
Idiot.
We gotta walk up. Come with me. Come with me.
Wait, I'm still here. We have to
Full heal
still
and
here.
walk with me. Full heal and walk with me. Full heal
Wait,
first.
calm down.
Yes, full
Calm
heal and
down.
then walk with me. I think there's a duo right in front of me. Full heal. Okay, no, it's 12 with 36.
No. All there is.
We might
25
have to go
seconds. What are we
left.
doing?
We're gonna have to go left. They're very close on me. They're not making a noise on me.
The full 3.
Yeah, fuck.
They're kind of all.
I'm backing.
Have a kid.
Come back. Let's go left. Reset.
Okay, Verde, watch out. They're peeking.
No.
On your feet, darling.
Fnatic smell blood in the water, and DSG have no way out, no grenades. Enemy on a sliver of HP, and Timmy's got to take this into his own hands as he takes a wide swing with the Havoc. It does look like with everyone rotating, DSG have got a little room to breathe, but teams from launch site are looking at them as well, Graceful. It's going to be a miracle and a half to get them into the next zone. Designful stiffing and diving through the rocks. Timmy is down. Fnatic turn and burn, and enemy falls to the zone.
Yeah, in general, this is what I'm saying, when there's too many teams on the edge, everybody has to walk in when the zone's closing, and honestly, it's just a free-for-all. You're getting held out by a team that's just a little bit in front of you, they're getting held out by teams that are a little bit in front of them, and it just becomes mayhem. I think like 4 teams have died, and it's even more teams that are about to, because they're just running into each other.
Pulling out the Mozambique with hammer points. We'll see if you can clutch this fight as Omit do fall. But Furia take a look over at Fnatic and say, well, your game's not going to go too easily, even if they're stopping a fight with Red Rams to do so. It does mean that Madness falls. Their attention is split. Backslide loses all his shields and has to deal with a 2v1 swing. Furia are out. 8 squads left.
Yeah, I think 2 teams already died on this northeast side, and it's still going on. The most important part is Fnatic is resetting as well. So I think there'll be another fight going on the fingers now. More teams are starting to get into the southern side because that's the easiest way to get up the hill without getting shot at. But the teams are already playing around cannon, around the buildings up top. it's honestly, it's going to come down to which side the teams from down the slope is going to walk up on, because it's going to be mayhem on the southwest side of the map, I'm pretty sure.
And you mentioned them earlier. I mean, we've got teams like Serenity here. Made in Heaven have actually moved nicely through the south side of the zone, and now both of these squads will have to compress a little bit. Only one of them realistically able to survive the oncoming rain.
So as you can see as well with like I said, all the edge teams, they're actually waiting for the timer to move, hoping that other teams' positioning is exposed before their own. That way, if they get shot at, they can either just third them, at least guarantee placement and kills, or the best case scenario is that they end up sending the team for the spot that you want to eventually third P and get. But it's going to be really hard, because I think it's only one team that's 100% safe in zone right now, whereas the other teams actually have to fight several teams coming in on their side.
We've got two bang ults used, Serenity and Liquid Alienware. On the opposite side, the north side of the zone, Red Rams are moving up the hill. Little bit of a head peek for Dash in their favor, and Fnatic throws in some fire from the side. They have lost Yuka to Serenity, but at this point, you've got to continue as a duo. There's no time for a res.
There's a huge fight going on this hill right now, but I think honestly, unless Made in Heaven is getting sent by on the west side, I think they're actually going to take home this game.
It's certainly seeming like that. Now, Geared are playing pretty deep zone. We'll take a look at them in a bit. But right now, I do wonder whether Fnatic will even make it in alive. Bang Smoke's meaning a lot at this point in the game, as Leica doesn't even know what hit him before he falls. Satsuki, last one alive for Fnatic behind a knockdown shield, gets shoved on from the rear. Rechecked, and Fnatic go down simultaneously, leaving Serenity with just 2 members left. Serenity should be able to reset. Jesk out of the game for sure now, leaving us with 3 teams, Geared, Made in Heaven, and Serenity, and it looks like Made in Heaven want to pick a fight.
The most important part is here is that you don't, if you see a down, you can try to thirst it, but you really want to push the team, be their bet, push the team that's in the middle towards the other team, that way you can third the last fight. And it looks like MIH right now is taking good space, trying to secure a lot of space to fight, because the zone is actually ending towards them. They're just holding it down, but I promise you, if they see an opportunity, they're gonna send it.
They lose one! This is disastrous for Made in Heaven! Exactly the opportunity the Geared Gaming need! And the deep zone team, the Watson squad, they eat a Horizon ult, but it's 3 strong! It's as simple as that. Gravity Lift does cause a bit of a delay. Zilach is low, but it's a 3v1.
Oh.
Rena goes down. Panic takes the swing. Panic clutches it for Geared Gaming.
Geared Gaming stepping up right there, but I think the biggest, the hardest part was that MIA was doing well, but they got caught off guard by the solo, ended up trading. Geared Gaming closing out the game, but this is the most important part. You might say, hey guys, Geared Gaming was on that hilltop this whole game and they had an easy game, but do you know what? Closing out games is not that easy. We've seen it across the whole tournament. People that have had power spots, that have had god spots, that have been consistently in top 5 placement, haven't been able to close out. Geared Gaming, however, closed out the game really neatly. I think they even managed to reset once, but they always stayed disciplined, held hands, and that way, when you're triple swinging someone, like I said, get easy cleanup.
And zone play like this isn't as simple to execute as sitting in one place, especially on Storm Point. Geared were not sitting in a building, they were sitting on a gravity cannon, and it's actually due to the Watson that their coach specifically has been favoring since long before we got to land, that they are able to hold that with such ease as compared to other squads that, with things like Caustic, might not have been able to control the open space.
The thing is that Watson, like I said, is a comp pick, but I think people actually forget that Watson enables you to play open space area due to the pylon. A lot of people are so used to playing Caustic nowadays that they're only playing the spots that are let's just say there's 40 spots on a PY that you can play. Watson enables that to 70. There's so many playable areas that you can only play when you have fences plus pylon, and I think Geared Gaming took advantage of that, but the most important part is they held the southern side this whole time. If they don't hold that side on the cannon, MIH was actually trying to flank them, and then eventually they had to turn back.
Well, let's take a look at the match results, see how far Geared Gaming got. 7 kills plus the win puts them ahead of the pack right now pretty comfortably, and I'm liking the look of Made in Heaven behind them.
So the teams that are in the top played early positioning. That's why they don't have that many kills. But like I said, consistency. If you keep 6 points per game, you're in a really good spot in general, really. That's all you need to make it through. However, when we look on the flip side of things, Reject and Red Rams, they came from the sides that were heavily gate kept, and there were so many people, so many teams were collapsing on the same side. They get so many kills, although maybe not placement, but the kills are making up for the lack of placement points.
I was thinking just that while it may not look great, the points actually put them technically in second place. I do want to look a little further down the leaderboard, though, at teams that had an even more difficult time that maybe didn't get to access the late game. I'm looking down, seeing a big surprise to me, actually, is WMNDY, who placed so well in yesterday's games.
So WMNDY actually drops on the southern side of the map, I believe.
Yeah.
And the thing is that if you go for these power spots too early, I'm pretty sure they tried to fight on the launch side and it didn't end up working for them because they were trying to 3P, ended up getting punished by it.
I want to take a look as well, since we were talking about Rejectwinity, at them compared with our match winners. Geared Gaming, of course, having walked away with the win, but the kills being the biggest differential between these to actually equalize the squad a lot more.
Yeah, the thing is that you can win tournaments in a lot of ways. I would say some might be easier due to, you have prio, go play zone. However, how often can you read zone correctly? Yesterday, we saw several teams misread the zone because it could pull either way. Getting kills is really consistent, however, but when there's too many teams on edge, it becomes really hard because teams are just thriving on, waiting and prowling for teams to start fighting to 3P.
It really is a game of prediction in this case for Geared, as they ended up coming from Jurassic to take the win. But I don't know what I would predict for next game. I'm going to take a break, I'm going to think about it, and when we come back, it'll be game 2 of Groups B and C.
But it's a 3v1. Rena goes down. Panic takes the swing. Panic clutches it for Geared Game.
Herman Miller, the official chair partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back to Los Angeles as we're returning for game 2 of Groups B and C here at the Apex Legends Global Series Split 1 playoffs. You can check us out at the Galen Center if you're watching this online and you're like, how do I get there? The tickets have already gone pretty fast, so you may be able to get in for group stages yet, but I'm looking over at the crowd and we are pretty darn full, especially after the action we saw in game number 1.
It's been amazing being here, but seeing so many people show up this early, for me it's early, guys. I wake up at like 4 p.m.
I know.
And seeing so many people makes me so happy. The community is really together. I feel like everybody has favorite teams, but you're kind of always cheering for everybody in the end, even the underdog, the teams you don't know, when they're in that clutch spot. And I just love the community so much.
It is a really nice thing to see, and one of my favorite things, I know we've talked about this a few times during the course of the event, but is the amount of passion for Apex Legends that's in the building and not just on stage. When you go out into the audience and you're able to talk to people about why they've got their favorite team, what has inspired them about the players and the teams that they follow, I mean, resonates with me because it's exactly what got me into this in the first place.
I think we all have a love and passion for Apex, and you can have it in any sort of way. If you like drawing Apex, if you like playing Apex, if you like just looking at Apex, I think we all like having something that we all can bond over. So I've heard so many people say that they made new friends today and, you know, yesterday as well, and it's really hard for me. I love meeting everybody as well, just walking by and saying hi, or even just, you know, the casual nod.
I mean, Graceful, I like spending time with you because there aren't a lot of times in my life where I can walk up to somebody and go, so I thought it was really crazy that Watson was being run here because, like, here's a Horizon and a Bangalore spot in the meta. Nobody understands this in my everyday life. When I get to LAN, people like you, we understand each other. And I actually want to, as much as I used it as an example, talk about that because we were speaking about Watson and her utility in the end game, or rather the mid game. But one of the things that I was thinking about when we got to the end game fight is that we're seeing a lot more Horizon pop up as well for teams that want to take fights faster. And Watson is actually especially good into teams that are using Horizon as a pseudo soft counter.
Yeah, I think, like I said before about the comfort picks, really true thing. People are slowly going back to Horizon because they're feeling that they're missing that little oomph in their fighting. Maybe, you know, we would have won this fight. And this is the thing, I love the comfort picks, but this is also the thing that everybody does, and I think everybody in this whole arena has done. How many times have it been that you got ratted on, you insta-pick Bloodhound, or you lose a fight when you were missing, you know, an ult, you insta-pick Horizon. I'm just a little bit scared that people are doing that a little bit early because I feel like you need some games to figure it out how the flow of the match is going. But as we go into deeper ends of the game, I think adapting is always good.
Graceful's like, is it adaptation? Is it comfort? Could this be tilt? I suppose we'll find out. Game 2's coming up, and we are returning to Stormpoint. This is the second of 3 games that will be played in this set for these teams. And honestly, in terms of the early game, most of our action was focused right up towards the north side. Red Rams TSM was a big, explosive 3v3. Everything else played out pretty naturally over the course of the game.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, not from yesterday, like I said. We saw 2 choke points get 5-6 teams killed immediately. After that, when they were like, oh, we can finally breathe, we got past the choke points, now the zone moved again, and like 5-6 teams died on a hill. So I think that as we're going now, people are gonna feel that more teams are on edge, and they might, so this is what I'm saying, you have to adapt. Do we play zone now, or do we play edge now? And people were swapping to edge, and they're like, oh my god, it's like 10 teams on edge. Are we gonna see the switch back to zone?
Especially if we see a similar ring pull up, I bet that we get a lot of people switching up just their paths in the early game, not because they're necessarily better, but because you're planning around what other teams are likely to do. What's funny to me is that we again have a drop ship that is going to end us over at Lightning Rod, letting everyone else settle in before they start watching the kill feed to see what's happening.
Oh, am I excited to see what's happening, because Red Rams had a solid game last game, and I think that they're not shying away from taking a fight on TSM, and I'm happy to see if it's going to be more favored now for TSM or not.
The 2 teams have swapped spots in this contest. Red Rams now get the height, the little bit of a jump master advantage, and it's TSM that take the low ground and have the option themselves to disengage down towards the south.
I think that TSM might not be looking to take the 50-50 as fast anymore. I think they're like, hey guys, everybody in their head always says, we're better. If we get more loot, we will take them out. And I think TSM just went for old Thunderwatch building to make sure they have a little bit more loot to even out the odds. But the question is, can they hold them up? But here, as we see, another con is happening.
WMDY up on height. I'm very surprised to see them taking this again after how quickly Reject took them down last time. But Reject only have one way up. They're not one of the squads running Horizon. And so it's zipline or nothing. With only 2 on scan, there's a pretty decent chance that Reject do just go for this, but you want a nade to at least clear space.
Yeah, nading.
Oh my God!
Huge nade.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm pushing off of that. Karanbe's already on it, and the quick delay on climb up does leave time for WMNDY to disengage, but it does not save Mr. K. Reject drop, they've already got one. They're gonna pick up a second, but this caustic shark strafing all over the place, survives for a little while longer. Now it's that 2v1 that you talked about. You've got bodies to throw, you've got a Peacekeeper to tango with. WMNDY, see you in game 3.
I'm pretty sure WMNDY actually landed on them, because I didn't see anything in Devastated Coast. However, as you see right there, they lose the 3v3, because I think Conduit is actually so strong off spawn as well for contest, is that they probably weren't ready for it, but trying to take a fight on them is rough in that spot. Launchpad is always rough with the height advantage.
pretty quick rotates that we're seeing from our teams in the center of the map. Boogie Boarders even fighting over this cave early on should indicate to everyone that there's a south zone. And actually, if you look at the top left of your screen, oh, the minimap's gone. But when it comes back, you'll be able to see that Boogie Boarders actually have a scan on the next ring and are trying to make their way down towards likely the south end of Jurassic. C9 are starting to move up towards the Gravit Cannon, and Furia coming from the water.
Another south zone indeed. I'm looking to see this now, but I think teams are slowly starting to move in right now. I think it's around Pylon, could be pulling a little bit more south. There's a lot of playable areas, however. I don't think we'll see as little teams alive as we did previous game because of so many playable areas.
Fun note here. TSM, you remember you mentioned they were slow playing it? Well, we're going to actually jump into a listen-in with them to see how they play this out in their second contest against Red Rams.
I'm on roof with you. I'm second floor. They're scamming.
Yeah, they're throwing burst. They're throwing burst. Queue up. I got pride. I'm batting. We keep up on you, Hal.
Yep. I got birded.
We're all
I gotta go bottom floor.
They're on me. Two of them. I cracked the highest. Yeah. Crossing to Jordan. They're gonna jump maybe. Can we cross the stairs?
Yeah.
On your door. I'm going to the roof.
Okay. I'm with you.
No, off the left side.
Both bottom floor. You want to peek it?
Blood crack. I'm peeking this.
Peeking it.
31. 101 on your right.
What is? He's on. Horizon 1.
John Blood.
Horizon 1.
+1. Oh my god, man.
Let's play aggressive on them. We have triple blues. They're on white.
We were playing that on a hair, Graceful.
We were indeed, and I actually think TSM had it in the bag. Red Rams tried to double swing, but they got punished for it because one was hiding inside the building. However, when they made that opportunity, you heard both comps, they're both one.
Yeah.
If they swing the same target, they win the fight. However, sadly, they ended up splitting. One did probably 150 on the guy outside, one did 150 on the guy inside. They both live with 1 HP, and it's sad indeed. But however, I am starting to see signs of life from TSM now. They are hitting their shots. Can they get on the same page?
We'll have to remember that when we look at them later, because ultimately, the story that history is going to tell, that when we look back at the standings is going to tell, is that this was 2 0-point games for them. And that we're going to have to remember that we were at least seeing some fight back, some close engagements, because realistically, standings-wise, it doesn't matter. And that's the really concerning thing for a team like TSM, that are falling further and further down. I do want to look, however, at the teams that are starting to rotate south of Jurassic. We mentioned this earlier. Northemption, one of the squads that is currently trying to make their way through, but was getting gate kept a little too long, and are going to try and take the evac tower instead.
Yeah, and with the zone going south towards Pylon side, and maybe even further, is that you have so many playable areas. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this because any zone where you have several teams alive makes me happy, because now it's no longer just about the macro, it's about the micro. It's about the awareness, the split-second decision-making, seeing something happen and punishing teams. And I think that when you get into the groove of things, it's the last split-second decision that, will take you forward or not, because when you're not ready to 3P at all times, somebody else is. When it's that tight and you have 6-7 teams around you. Very interesting to see.
One of the better things that you can do is set yourself up, say in a spot like Furia where it's really difficult to be third-partied. When you're up on height, have a lot of say over the teams around you. It makes disengaging hard, but then we see teams like Aurora that are just like, well, I'm gonna cruise around, look for a fight, see what happens.
Aurora coming in hot like always. I think they're just going for objectives. With the new Evo shields coming up as well, and you're just looking for these spawns. They always come in circle 3, I believe, and then they try to make a late play. But I think actually they're so good at adapting as well. We'll have to see if they can keep it up, because as zones start progressing towards, different elevations like hills and stuff, making evac plays or even taking fights becomes a lot harder than comparatively to like when it's inside buildings and low ground areas, where it's a lot easier to isolate fights.
Just checking out this ring, I'm looking further south where Cloud9 are sat over at Echo HQ, and I can see this is a pretty big advantage. Cloud9 are going to get ring console and advanced information that this is pulling out towards the eastern side of Pylon. Aurora, they're busy doing their thing. We know Disguised were actually the ones rotating through the south of Checkpoint, so this is likely them, and we get confirmation as Timmy fires back.
Yeah, Aurora doing Aurora things, getting objectives, but this guy's doing the same thing. It's a little bit scary because now they're both on the same side of the map with the zone moving soon, and I think they might even get held out by somebody further into the zone. The real question is now, can they make it in safely? Because when you have so many chokeholds right now, as we can see towards the zone, you have to go through gates, you have to go through hills, up and down. Every single time, people are always looking to gatekeep you. Now, especially with the way the last game played, where we had close to 10 teams on edge.
And because they've got a Trident, this guy's get a little bit of an easier disengage, but it's not looking particularly good for them, nor is it looking good for Red Rams, who swing straight by Lagoon and almost instantly go down. Fnatic do lose one in response, but Red Rams have now dropped 2.
Yeah, big trade here is coming out, and I think they're trading rests maybe even. I think that you have to look to play discipline because none of them want to die, and I think they're both just looking to stabilize for the moment. But who is proactive? I think that will make or break who can push his stalemate aside and maybe, you know, end up closing out the fight.
It's ticking on gas as well. I cannot believe that we're pushing height. Looks like Reject Winity think they've got an advantage over Fnatic. Yuka swings, gets a bit aggressive, but ultimately abandons Leica inside. Thermite doesn't catch anyone, and now Fnatic are fighting at a numbers disadvantage. Out comes the kick. Does not find them fast enough. Sangjun does fall, but Yuka's left alone as they trade once again. Sangjun, Satsuki now leading Reject with a 2v1 advantage. It should be Obli and Karan dropping down at the same time, but they're going to go for the res instead, making it a 3v1 instead of just a 2v1, and that is disgusting graceful.
Playing textbook discipline. They are not taking any fights when they don't need to. Focus on getting the reset. Indeed they did, and they take down Fnatic. I think that it's really important to notice that Fnatic split. Was it a timing issue? Was it a calm issue? One of them got caught off guard inside whilst 2 were on the roof. You need to have this, like I always keep saying, be on the same page. If you want to push inside, the guys on top have to push at the same time. Otherwise, you're not even trading. You're just giving up a free kill, and trying to win it from a 2v3 situation is really tough. I think they put up a good fight, but not enough to take them out.
As you're saying, especially in a building like that, where you've got doors that you can play around, if you're not pushing at the same time as your teammates, there's safety available.
Yeah.
And that's just not something that we saw played around, but it happens. It catches a lot of teams throughout the course of a whole playoffs. We're likely to see a few more steps like that. Now for Aurora, they've just been moving around the rest of the map. They've taken a totally different rotational angle. Previously, we saw them coming in from the west, and now they're sat right underneath Echo.
Yeah, having red armor already on one, I think due to the ult from Hardeki, is terrifying. They're getting stacked, like I said, they always get stacked. The real question is, whoever they run into, I'm praying that they're also stacked. If they're just a team that's just been playing a house this whole time with triple blues, it's not gonna be a fun time for them. And I'm actually happy to see them adapting because they knew where the zone went and pulled. So they actually took the opposite side by going all the way south instead of just going slowly in from the north, which the zone pulled naturally from.
It's just like what we talked about with Made in Heaven and Serenity from last game, where they approached from the south side and got a pretty big advantage because of it. Now, 07 are not benefiting from that at all. They're approaching from probably the most crowded area of the map and are facing down North Eption, who have been stuck in this choke point since long before 07 got here. Let's take a look to see if 07 can solve that problem faster than North Eption did.
Pull north here, by the way. Come with me. Let's get
Teammate, we're
yeah, someone here. You're second ahead of me, okay? You're second ahead of me.
Yeah, you're ahead of us, careful.
I have to go fast though, they're gonna shot at.
We're not gonna get 4 shots, Famfi, just in case the team comes from behind.
I just don't wanna make audio.
I think we just right here, you know?
Well, but we're still in here, no?
Don't get shown!
The team in the house is about to fight the waterfall, I think. Okay.
And then we just play here.
Call behind!
We're on our back. Yeah, we're on our back, they're gonna be here behind here.
Push up!
Yeah, pushing up. We need to get here, we need to get this.
Yeah. Tell me when to pop dogs, I wanna fight.
Graceful, I'm sitting next to you as we see a car move in, and I'm like, who could that possibly be? Of course, it's Disguised, moving in so late off the zone. Is that... that was almost a stick. That was very, very scary. 07 do take a small reset in the fight, but Conduit ult's not helping him out. Instead, Disguise send it on board, taking down Nags. 07 have got a height advantage. Horizon Q mitigates all of that. And 07 have now lost one permanently. Naski's down. Amphi can't make the rotate on his own. Let's say goodbye to 07.
Yeah, this is a huge fight on the north side, and we're seeing more and more teams collapsing on the northern end. That's why I'm saying I was so fond of Aurora finding their way. That's not where all the teams are heavily on one side. Whereas now 07 try to rat a team, but there's still a team in front of them. There's always risk of a 3P. They ended up just losing the 3v3, but there's more teams coming in.
Disguised inherit 07's problem, though, of having to walk through multiple teams. 3KP is good. Getting shut down? Absolutely not. Enemy does a nice bit of opening damage, but it's not nearly enough. It does open things up for Designful, though, who with the Havoc could find a kill. In comes the slide. In comes Designful. That's one down, and Boogie Borders are in tatters.
That was a great kill from these guys. They're actually playing so good together, but however, can they hold the next wave? This is zombie wave. That was wave 1 and wave 2. They still got wave 3 and 4 before they can make their way on towards the zone. But in zone, however, another fight just happened. Aurora cleaned up Cloud9, and I promise you, they were not nearly as scared.
Yeah, this was, I think, really the best move for Aurora. Clearing your back is something we talk about a lot in Apex Legends, and they're able to do that really quickly because of the loot disparity. Now they've got another fight brewing, but you talked about this earlier. Geared versus Disguised was always going to happen, and it's just one too many waves for Disguised. In comes the next, though, and it's Reject who now have to take on the victors of Geared Gaming.
Wave 3 is where they fell. They cleared 1 and 2, died on wave 3. However, wave 4 came in and cleared them. There's too many teams on the same side. It's always going to go back and forth. However, Reject staying disciplined and waiting for the perfect moment to swoop. Not only did they get the kills, they got all of the loot.
Graceful, I wish I could tell you that was the last wave, but I'm pretty sure we've got one more brewing on the north side of the map. I do want to look at the south side, though, where Made in Heaven are collecting their kills while people make their exit from Pylon. Now, Made in Heaven are not exempt from this. They're going to have to move as well and into TYK and omits 3v3.
Big fight on the main building. This is why it's so scary to always take this positioning early, because if you're not well geared enough, you can't hold off all the teams. Like we said, waves. You held off one wave, another wave comes, and you have to be able to hold off everybody whilst maintaining the resources to close out the game.
Nice swing from Dexter, really put on a show yesterday. Should be able to close this fight out as numbers advantage for TYK means that Omit are gone. Next, in comes the next wave, and unfortunately, it's still looking pretty good for TYK. They get a trade on E8. Furia go down, but the E8 TYK situation has yet to be resolved, and it gives more opportunity for more teams to come in. Made in Heaven join the engagement. Red Rams evac in.
4 teams playing a small area. It's gonna be really hard now. You want to be on the teams like MIH here, on the outer sides of the buildings, not inside the buildings, to where they can decide if anything happens left or right, they can adapt. When you're in the building, you don't really have that much choice.
Playing defensive, playing reactive, I think, is a good word to use. Made in Heaven do have low ground in this situation and want to wait for a good play to arrive, or to show itself, rather. During the rest of the zone, though, Aurora have just been fishing for those plays. They're looking for Reject now on the opposite end of the ring, and it looks like it's going pretty well for them. Mobley is very low, and we've got Rock Peaks going in. Karampe does not get to hit the PK, but it does make a trade with Aurora. Impulse has fallen. Reject on 1. It's just Obley left, and playing around a sliver of bamboo. He will go down, giving a fight to Aurora.
Huge fight from Aurora again. They're being proactive, clearing their sides. Now they have the entirety of the east side hill for themselves. I think this is looking up to be a great game for Aurora. Not only are they stacked, they get to pick and choose when they want to join the fray.
My big question is going to be next ring when we look up towards the upper left. Is Aurora going to have cover to play? Are those fence lines that separate the two POIs still going to be in? Because then they can clean this up. Made in Heaven are already, we'll say, tenderizing the meat that's left in Pylon by taking out one member of E8. Made in Heaven have got an opportunity to collect a lot of KP, though winning the game seems like a difficult ask when Aurora are on height.
The thing is that where the zone is pulling as well, it becomes a lot easier for the teams on the outer edge to make plays. Aurora specifically has several playable areas. You said the fence line, there's not only a fence line, there's a wall, there's a box. You can have several angles and shoot down on everybody who has to collapse towards each other where the zone is pulling.
4 squads left. Aurora, Made in Heaven, Red Rams, and Legends Gaming. Made in Heaven, they're the ones that get to pick and choose, but ultimately, Legends, Red Ram, and Made in Heaven will all have to fight in some order or another.
The thing is that, as you said, 4 teams remaining. They don't want to make the first move. They hope that they can push the other teams into each other. Nothing probably is going to happen this zone, but once this 6th zone starts closing, mayhem will ensue.
This is going to be a big setup circle, shall we say.
Ooh, nice.
Big mistake, however, does get made by Arctic. And while it's unlikely that Aurora actually send this, I don't think you get a res here either. I cannot believe I'm seeing a cross into smoke. Hardeki says this is an illegal play. You can't just pick someone up, especially in a late game scenario like this.
Yeah, he might be pushing up, but he's not actually full sending. He's always has his teammates covering his angles, as you can see. If he just tucks the wall, his teammates can punish them if they tend to overswing or like overcompensate for the swing.
You know, Aurora are taking a lot of space towards the north side of the zone. I could see Legend making a play to take the other end of it, try and swoop height away from Aurora. Hardeki goes low. They've got to be careful with Lifeline and Doc especially. Aurora should be able to get back in the fight. Hardeki pops that, but gets taken out by the Rolling Thunder. This is Legend's opportunity on the other end of the ring, but they're stuck in a fight with Red Rams, and ultimately they go down. 3 squads left. Aurora as just a duo as Legends go down. Oirain finds a knock. Impulse finishes it off. Made in Heaven have 1 member left, and Red Rams come in from the other side. That is a very, very sad piece of meat.
Huge fight for the last here. I'm not a fan of Hardeki going down again to a frag. However, his teammates are putting out damage,
2v1,
and they're catching out dash.
This is evens now. Wei Chang does come over the top. PK does not hit the first, grabs the second, makes it a 2-pop, clutches it for Red Rams in game number 2.
Red Rams taking advantage of that mistake where he went down the first time. They managed somehow to read it due to the other Red Rams clearing up the rest of the lobby with them. However, punished by a Sky Nade cost them the game. And I'm not a fan specifically of the Lifeline going there, because if it was Bang, if it was Bloodhound, Lifeline can just swoop and click and you're ready to fight. However, Lifeline going down there, huge mistake. However, they still had a big game. I'm not too mad about it, but they should really rethink who's going up first.
It's about dialing in the end games, yeah. And that is one of the odd things where Hardeki perhaps feels like he can extend, because he is calling the shots for a lot of the team and is able to move up in these fight scenarios and call for assistance. We mentioned it. They're covering his back. They're doing as much as they can, but putting Lifeline forward is always going to be a risk. Doesn't hurt to see 11 kills on the board, so we'll take it. We'll take golf claps, as Aurora did pretty darn well. Red Rams swooping in for the win, though. Not bad at all.
Yeah, seeing these kills is what I'm saying, that there's several ways to be consistent. The scary part is Aurora's consistent from playing Edge with a bunch of kills, but also placement. Red Rams, however, I like it so much, and I don't think people talk about Red Rams enough. Red Rams have been popping off entirely by being in the mix. They are clearing their sides. They don't care we're in the middle of the zone fighting 4 teams. They always come out on top.
I was really surprised to see them maneuver a fight against Legends game when I'd expected, just based on what we've seen at playoffs so far, for both teams to play a little bit more passive. I dare say a little bit more scared, completely forgetting those Red Rams that I was talking about, the team that is hot dropping. Outside of their win, outside of their placement today, they've collected an extra 6 points on top of it so far, and Game 3 could make it 9.
I think Red Rams is the perfect team currently. In their form is really good, but can they maintain it is the question as we get deeper into the tournament. But from what I can see, they've been proactive, also reactive. And the most important part is reactive is noticeably, people look down on being reactive. However, if you're pre-planning, that's still being proactive whilst being ready to, choose a side to join in.
Being proactively reactive, we can start to experiment with that. I'm going to try and figure out how to phrase it, but in the meantime, the match results have saved me. Red Rams with 11 kills take first place. Aurora also with 11 kills.
Made in Heaven as well, having another good game. I know they were on the same side, the zone was relatively close to one another. However, they're staying consistent, not only in placement points, but also kills. And I think that things could have looked a little bit different if things didn't get so chaotic in the end by, Aurora trying to spice things up, which eventually costed them the match.
Legends also creeping up here in E8, one of my picks to keep an eye on right behind them. Reject with another very high kill game. They're not maybe second as a result this time, but slotting yourself into third points-wise, not bad at all. I do want to take a look at the second half of this, though, because we've got teams that we're missing once again. Disguise 6 kills. Honestly, Very nice if you're going to end up going out bottom 10, but everyone else not having as good of a time.
So, you know, people might be disappointed by TSM seeing the donuts right there is that they didn't really get to play the game. When you like, a lot of the times when you bother you go to see like, what did we make wrong, you know, in terms of a lot of things. But when it's literally just a contest, you don't have a lot to pick up on. It's like, oh, we should have double swung instead of, you know, split. But I don't think there's a lot to do. I think it's more about momentum. I feel like TSM is still being proactive enough, but they need to be on the same page. Looking at other teams like WMNDY, I think they contested early on as well. They had the height initially, but got scared after that huge frag on high ground, and they got punished. And we'll have to see if they can turn things around.
And we're definitely seeing the teams that are contesting early reap the rewards, not get held up. Red Rams off of high ground, and that really well split in terms of their kills. Although I'm looking a little further down, and Wei Chang's clutching up a lot of kills for the amount of damage he's dealing.
I think they're getting a really good useful usage out of Conduit, because a lot of the time, you've seen it today already, when the Conduit queues somebody that just got knocked and it didn't really get value out of it. Red Ram so far has had value out of almost every single queue. Not too much of the Conduit ult maybe, but the Q usage alone is such a good thing in normal fights.
We did criticize them a little bit for their fight at Lightning Rod because one person was sat inside. Remember, there was a chance for TSM to win the fight. I think in large part, that's something Red Rams are doing really well, is setting up a nice damage differential because they're able to disengage from fights and play around cover really well.
Yeah, playing around cover is important, especially since Conduit Q goes through walls as well. It's really nice that, you know, they can play that split because they have Conduit. Normally, if you play a Lifeline or something, they get caught off guard, they just get smoked. But when Conduit is like, nope, I'll just Q and I can stand again. And the reset time is so minuscule, you're almost always permanently fighting when you have a Conduit on your team.
Looking at the overall standings after 2 games, Red Rams, of course, are taking the lead. Remember, 6 points on top of this because of the TSM kills. Otherwise, they're tied with Reject right now.
I love to see this mix-up, and yesterday everybody was saying, you know, are we gonna see something different today? It is only the, you know, the first couple of games, but seeing teams that people didn't really think about really opens your eyes to how strong are not only, you know, America is really strong, but other regions have talent as well that might not get showcased as much. However, right here on LAN, everybody is performing from a lot of regions. Even NA, a few NA teams are doing really good as well, but all the regions are popping off. I'm so happy to see everybody getting their time.
I'll tell you, Graceful, you and I have been talking a lot about how much consistency matters. A lot of times we'll see consistency take the form of people, you know, mixing up their playstyle, but also getting a few controller players in the mix is that they really bring a lot of consistency to a squad. And for that reason, I want to shout out our sponsor, Battle Beaver, the official controller partner of the Apex Legends Global Series. They've actually got a booth here. You can swing by the Battle Beaver booth at the event and pick up your own limited edition ALGS Split One custom controller available only this weekend. They're also offering quick repair services for competitors here at their venue. That's how confident they are. So if your PS4 or PS5 controller is drifting, you can stop by and check out their drift calibration test. We've also got rewards for you at home who cannot stop by the venue to pick up one of our amazing Battle Beaver controllers. You can at least get some in-game rewards, and they are some nice ones. Just yesterday, we had a nice Wingman skin. Today, you may be a fan of the Conduit play that you're seeing, and of course, you can look forward to Saturday supporting our B-Stream legends.
I'm not gonna lie, controller looks hella sick, and I really want to pick one up. However, MK forever. I'm an MK fan. We don't need aim assist. Green, the holo spray for the not a green screen actually touches my heart so much because, you know, it's a part of history at this point. And for people that don't know, you know, Nicewig and Greek have come a long way. And I'm so happy to see everybody thrive in their own aspects of, you know, of the community, and, you know, it makes me really happy.
It is, and it's nice to see as well that ALGS, that is in many ways a small part of Apex Legends, being reflected in the game, in what you can just put out into the world, because we've already seen some collaborations with other IP. I remember the Final Fantasy event that happened earlier this year, and so we're seeing things from outside the universe of Apex Legends start to creep their way into the cosmetics, and it's really nice to see how the Apex Legends Global Series can be represented when you're just out and about and enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I love that a lot, actually. ALGS has always been a big thing for me. I remember back when it wasn't, you know, called ALGS in the same way, which is circuits back then. It wasn't Pro League. Since I've been playing since day one, and seeing it all come together has always been wonderful, and I feel like everybody has a chance to make it. Anybody could play right here on this land. You can sign up and you can compete and you could make it here with big boys, you know?
Let's actually draw attention to that. You're remembering back when it was circuits.
Yes.
There are a couple players on the stage that have been playing since then. One of them that I want to talk about, because we've had some southern zones, is Cloud9. Sorcerer has been around for an extraordinarily long time, even playing in the circuits that you mentioned before the ALGS is what it was today. They've had a big come up recently, not just Sorcerer, but the rest of the team with Chaotic and Naughty alongside them. And recently, scrims have been looking good for them. At Echo HQ, however, they haven't really taken advantage of the south zones. We are going to get to talk about that a little bit longer after we get back from a quick break, because I'm going to grab some water, and you at home should too, to prepare for the third game of Group B and Group C. The chants are starting in the arena as we've already got several fans looking to perhaps boost their favorite team up a little while. TSM chants at 20th place. Not something I was betting to see at playoffs, but it's happening nonetheless.
The thing is, people are underestimating the morale boost you can get from the fans. The fans are gathering their strengths for them right now, and they need every single bit of it. The rest of the fans, I saw somebody say play RevNet. I don't know about if they're gonna pick Rev, but you know, I appreciate the thoughtful process right there. Yeah,
it's important to experiment. Leave your mind open to the possibilities that Apex Legends presents in front of you. We could get some vantages later on. That's just something I know now is not going to happen, but I wouldn't mind seeing some Ramparts. Complexity have already made pretty good use of it, but as a team that's not here today, we'll move right along. We are going to get a contest pretty early on as our north to south this time dropship takes us right into TSM versus Red Rams. TSM this time prioritizing height, splitting up a bit, and Red Rams land on the duo.
This is another 3v3 that we've seen several times from TSM being contested for so long. And I think that they just need to, you know, be proactive.
Let's take a look at the Red Rams, see how they approach this fight with a listen in for Red Rams.
走全員向こう行ってるんだから。
減らしてきたね。
俺らと飛んで IMC かね、これじゃあ、あさったら。
いいよ、いいよ。
うん。
いや、多分これ普通に事故っただけだと思う。俺ら普通にいつものやつ入れると思ったんだ、これ相手。ヘムロックめっちゃ欲しい。
いいよ。
俺、マシフもらうね。
いいよ。
いいよ。2個誰かあげる、これ2個。
忘れ終わったでしょ。
うん。言っていいよ、相手の動向わかんないからね。一応。
3人で行こう。
それだけついて。うん。いくよ、せーの。
We've again got them playing this slow. TSM back off. Red Rams are doing the same thing. I think prioritizing perhaps a likely Evo Harvester spawn to try and get a jump on TSM with an armor advantage.
The thing that I take away from the listening the most is how calm weren't they? They are feeling so comfortable right now, and they're just, we're doing this, guys. There's no questions. It's disciplined. And yeah, as you can say, they're going for objectives right now. Are they going to take the fight to them again? Or or since they're so far ahead, are they gonna try to keep the lead by just, you know, playing it slowly and maybe playing Zone a little bit earlier than just taking fights again?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'd like Red Rams to do. They've actually been denied a lot of Evo since Survey Camp and Evo Harvester are right next to TSM. I mean, we know that they'll be on blues, they'll have perks available. It might be better for Red Rams to move down towards the south, towards where Reject, Winity, and WMNDY have been clashing.
Zone as well now, finally on the opposite side of the map. I love this. This zone is so much fun to play. The real question is who's going to go in there early and who's going to come in late, because when you go too early, you're going to get punished for once again not having the same gear, the same resources as other teams that come in late will do. But so far we've seen a trend of people coming in really late. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams are managing to come in from different sides.
Something that's funny about that is that the teams that have been really egregious about being late are TYK and Disguised, who both come from right next to the zone. So if they want to move in late, they're going to have to take a really convoluted path that takes them around the rest of the map. Something that I honestly wouldn't want to opt into, because the advantage is right there if you can just take it. Now, we do have the chance of a fight brewing. They may not have landed on top of each other, but that doesn't mean that Reject has forgotten about WMNDY.
Yeah, Reject is prowling right now. They are so ready because they've been fighting them for the several games and they've been coming out on top every time. I think they're feeling themselves. And speaking of, you know, feeling themselves, they're already, you know, holding hands, taking space, and they're looking to see if they can make anything happen. But as you said, fights doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's a little bit slow and you just have to, you know, loot a little bit more, and as you loot more, we'll take a look around the other side of the map as people are looting up.
I'll be real with you, TSM not being on blues, kind of a red flag there. I don't think they felt confident enough to hit the survey beacon. That's denied them the last 100 Evo. Red Rams, because of that, have gotten to move on up. Reject Winity, after hitting the scan, have a bit of information, don't have a great swing onto this, however, and frag causes a problem for Oakley.
Yeah, big frags and smokes coming out there. Everybody's looking to push them. Reject is feeling healthy, but it's really important that this area is a little bit hard to fight in as well. As you can see, there's a lot of like open sections where if you get caught in the open, it could cost you.
Omit and E8 fighting, and that's with a whole other team waiting in the wings. Omit are down to just one as Blasts escapes for now. But this is not where I'd want to put a Caustic. Even if it's dead center of zone, even if you've got all the time in the world to set up, a solo Caustic simply cannot do a lot.
This is one of the things that I have a hard time, you know, I talk to the developers a lot, and I feel like when you don't have a support character and you can't get your teammates back in, it's a little bit frustrating. But that's one of the costs you have for, you know, taking fights too early and fighting for these power spots when you're not really geared enough to take them and win them consistently.
Made in Heaven are already starting to make a push. If you are going to pick a fight in the zone, it's better to do it early. And so, as they make this wrap, Cinetic fishes for a bit of damage, doesn't find it, and ultimately is going to have to play with safety in mind. 07 put up a good defense, and it's all they need to do. Nothing stylish, nothing fancy, just establish your boundaries and stick to them.
Establishing your boundaries indeed, Reject, and this fight is still going on right here on top of the mountain where the first game ended. They are trading and they are just resetting on repeat. We'll have to see if they can close out this fight, because any longer than this, and they're going to be so late that they're going to be running into the team that are really doing negative rotates on edge, and they don't want to run into the likes of Aurora, Disguise, etc.
After the Radiant transfer, I think it's a nice move that they make sure that nobody's sitting in the immediate area, as WMNDY, we've got confirmed, have started to disengage, and then go back for the res on Obley. Super safe play from them, and ultimately, they can start moving on in along with the rest of the zone. It does mean that Reject are going to be playing a very different style, as they'll be going from the edge. Red Rams as well, perhaps suffering, as up against North Action, they have been caught in a way we've yet to see.
Red Rams getting caught here in this fight is scary, because a lot of the teams are, like I said, do you see how many teams are right now on edge? They're all fighting on edge. Nobody's playing for zone right now except maybe 2-3 teams. And these fights are scary because when you can't really close out these fights fast enough, you might get caught off guard.
Red Rams have lost control of the door. They can't even close it because of the death box now. Gives North Epson the chance to move in. They've still got Radiant Transfer available. So North Epson, off of just a little bit of damage, can make a full swing. In they come. Taito whips an entire magma, still takes down Wei Chang. And North Epson in a 3v1 will take down the Red Rams. Our #1 team is eliminated.
That swing is perfect execution because they had no scan, they smoked off a side and they triple swing. Easy cleanup. Going in for an easy cleanup, Cloud9 just got full swoop by Furia, And, you know, we didn't get to see the full extension of that, but I'm sure with Madness going down as well, they probably did some good team execution right there.
Interesting that Madness is the one to fall as well. IGL also playing in a very aggro role. We saw Hardeki doing it as well earlier. And a lot of IGLs do like to take risks in that way, just because they at least feel that they know the extent of what their team can accomplish.
When the reason why IGLs likes to be at the front is because that split second it takes to make a decision. Like if I have to tell you to push, that's a lag right there for my team is to listen and to execute. Whereas if I'm just pushing immediately and they can just physically see without me needing to comment, that makes it a lot faster and things happen the way you want it to happen. If I tell you to swing right, you could swing wide right, you could swing close right, maybe you just swing out in the open. You know, it's not exact, but you have to be, as an IGL, you want everything to be perfectly the exact way you are imagining it.
I do want to touch on this strat because it's a real weird one. Aurora are giga split right now. That's not Impulse as a solo. Impulse just happens to be alone right now while the rest of the team is at mill. He's going around collecting Evo Harvesters while the rest of the squad is sitting, waiting for maybe crafting him in mill. Or Impulse does run into a squad. That is a real quick knock on him, but I dare say graceful. It was probably worth it. He's got a lot of Evo Harvesters on the way to the Echo HQ.
It is true, they have a support, they could just spawn him in. They probably got several values out of Harvesters, but
it's weird.
It's a risky thing to do, but do you know what I said yesterday? If you do risky things, you get rewarded. And if they come up with red armors instead of potentially blue and purple, that's gonna give them still that team morale needed. But I'm gonna say that's very big. Big risk to be taken.
It's a weird play. Like I just don't see it as that big of a risk. It's just strange. Because Aurora, they actually spawned with a ring console at Cenote, so I think they can tell, well, nobody's going to come up towards us. The ring is clearly going north. We're just gonna do some interesting stuff. They get a benefit out of it. Well, they'll get their teammate back. Furia, meanwhile, playing a totally different game, a very normal, very clean game of Apex Legends is what we're back on board with. And their rotation, while perhaps not the simplest, does give them a nice bit of safety in these buildings.
Yeah, seeing this zone pull towards Cascade Falls as well is really interesting. And I love to see these, you know, macros as people are figuring out where the zone is leading. And as we see, oh, evac almost going wrong. As we can see as well, people are starting to move in closer towards Cascades and other playable areas where they think the zone might be ending. And as we see this happening, that same choke point we were talking about last game is going to happen again, where teams are getting held up.
It's a slow move from Fnatic. They're playing out of a spot with pretty low prio. We have seen some zones fall here. This one's looking a bit unlikely. But with Fnatic sat in this central position, they can punish teams that are like Furia, rotating from the south, that may not have an evac tower or a plan when it comes to where they're landing. So a play for KP from Fnatic, while TSM certainly a play for placement. Slow side, no engagements. TSM are making the most use of the spot they spawned in and avoiding fights because you don't want to drop another 0-point game.
The thing is that you need to be on the outer edge like TSM is, or you need to be inside the center of the zone. Because when you're on these, like on the cusp of not really center and not really edge, that's where all the teams are waiting to, you know, join in on the 3-piece. So I'm a little bit scared for Fnatic because that might be the side where Aurora ends up pulling in from and all the edge teams come in from. But I think people haven't really navigated where exactly it's ending just yet. So we might not see action just now until like a little bit later.
Aurora, this time now rotating as all three pick up the next Evo, get to Reds, take out one member of WMNDY. This is a great game from Aurora. It's a weird game still, but it's a great game.
Knocking a thirst is all they need. I promise you, they found out that they had triple red. They don't want to take that fight. They rotated. They're like, you went down, we're leaving you. Bye-bye, triple red, we're out of here. And as the game progresses, you know, into later games, we have less space to play. That's going to be even more terrifying because now at least you can run away as well. But it looks like they might be on the chase. I don't know what, you know, they're feeling themselves, and I'm all for it.
I love that they thought about it. The call looks like it's ultimately to disengage, to look for a different angle on this. Zoirain does risk going down to the zone. Hope the medkit goes off in time. Nope,
no.
It doesn't. We gotta give a little salute to that. Not a big problem for a team like Aurora, since they've got Lifeline. They've got plenty of meds. They've got plenty of time.
Yeah. Like I always like to say as well, you can out-heal this zone. It's not too terrifying. I think they're doing fine.
It's just weird. Every time I look at Aurora, I'm like, they've got a very different read on this than everyone else, and it's interesting to watch.
The thing is, the way that they're adapting to the zones, that people thought this wouldn't work on land, they are making it work on land. Speaking of working on land, teams are still doing the same old, fighting for buildings, taking over power spots. But it's not working for everybody because everybody's still trying to navigate. The one thing that's consistent about Aurora is they play the same way in every single lobby. Other teams are navigating between contests, between macro, but this is super consistent for them and it's working out.
We can actually take TYK as an example, who are sat in Deep Cascade after playing Edge for 2 games in a row. Because they're switching things up, they're getting punished a bit, having already lost 1. TSM with their first real chance at playing the game. We're going to watch both WM, NDY, and 07 go down. They've got a fight in front of them, a fight up against Legends Gaming on their way to the ring.
Yeah, TSM needing a big game is nonetheless. Oh, speaking of big game, Gear Gaming, who had a big game, is caught in a fight in the house. Looking to swing, and it's a 2 for 2. Double trade, and they clean up the fight. However, they're fighting on a location where there's several teams nearby. They're gonna get thirsted probably, and he's gonna be a rat running out of the fight.
Second time I've seen that this tournament, where Panic clutches a fight for Geared, looks really good, and they have to disengage because of a third party. There's a reason this team is playing so heavily into zone, and it's, to me, because they're not sure about how to navigate fights and avoid third parties at the same time. The timing windows are a bit off, and it's much better when they're deep in zone because now they're just a solo.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about adapting. Sometimes, the fights end up working, you don't get punished. Sometimes you don't even start to, shoot the first bullet, you're getting third-partied. Sometimes the fight just gets taken to you and you can't really adapt. However, the most important part is getting those 3 kills will help them in the long run.
Legends are moving in right alongside TSM. We know these squads were mirroring each other earlier, so Legend know that this is the team that was just behind them. I think that's a crack on armor. We could see a knock, and nice disengage for a moment by Reps as he was literally 1 tap, and this is not looking much better.
This is really risky. I do, however, like I said, they're on 1 point. They have to take risks, and I like this. At least they got into the zone. Zone looks like it's pulling towards the river, actually, which is an old zone that I love a lot. However, can they make it happen? Because once this zone starts closing, several teams will be exposed to open area where only a few teams can live.
Got Serenity up ahead of them. Serenity, who have done so well picking up 3rd in yesterday's games, and right now are sat at 6th so far. This is not a team to be trifled with. I'd be hesitant to see TSM take this fight, even with as much historical backing as they've got.
Seeing TSM being, playing on the heels essentially as Serenity is looking to engage on them is a little bit scary because, they're just trying to tuck the wall, and they're praying that somebody's shooting at them while they're playing on the balcony. But will it happen? Who knows? As more teams are moving into the zone, probability is high.
Aurora showing a lot of presence here. Nicely done. Since they don't have a Watson to just fence up the roof, they do have to make sure that as people evac in, and people will be evacing in, that you're aware a squad is there, and not a good chance to land on the roof. Furia playing off the roof, at least Keon is, as they play a defense around the edge of zone. Have just a few seconds to pull off this res and then move in. As Elevate go down, we'll see if Furia survive the rotation.
Yeah, big fight on the edge, like I said, but even if you clean up the fight fast and you get the reset, the zone is still moving again.
Yep.
And there's too many teams on the edge right now, so they're going to get gate kept by maybe 2-3 teams looking at them walking in. And I'm hoping that they can, wiggle their way in, but it's going to be a tough bet, especially with, even seeing the rack on the map. Could that hinder them?
Even one person being taken down by a rat, we've seen it in endgame scenarios, can ruin your game. The same thing can be said for one like this, where the zone will take care of the thirst for you. Geared Gaming look like they're letting this pass by. Legend starting to move into the ring as well. Everyone huddled up, however, on the western side of Cascade is going to make this so difficult for not just the Rats, but Furia as well. TSM take a big chunk, running low on meds at this point in the game. Trades are happening elsewhere. Geared Gaming go down, so do Liquid Alien, where Legends follow immediately. That's the Rat from before, and we're down as Northampton fall to 9.
Yeah, seeing TSM make this wrap this early, and as you can see their resource, they're on triple blue. They can't really do anything because they're getting shot at by like the entire lobby, and now eventually getting pushed from the front as well.
And the back, Furia wrap on them. This is a pain sandwich for TSM. Fnatic and Serenity below, Furia above. TSM go down, 8 squads left.
Yeah, 8 squads left indeed. Like I said, a lot of teams are going to be dying this zone closing. As we can see in the kill feed, there's not that much playable area anymore. We went from having several buildings and trenches to be able to play an LOS from. Now it's only like the river, the mountain, and maybe a building for the moment. Once this circle starts closing, however, more teams will have to fight each other. As we see, several teams are actually playing in the same building. Will they get 4th parted, 5th parted? Who knows at this point?
Oh my lord! Furia into the meat grinder. Go reject Windy. That's our team that was just in first place. Wiped out in a second.
Yeah, however, we say they got wiped out early. Top 8 ain't too bad. We didn't see their kills. Still maybe might be a solid game. Aurora once again in the power spot by where the zone is ending. We'll have to see if they can close out this game or not. Other teams will have to fight for market, which is really scary with so many different angles that you can get shot from.
It's crazy that Fnatic just made the move down the hill and survived it. Didn't even break shields, I think, on the majority of their members. Now they're rotating to the next zone. Is real complicated. They'll be going up against teams like TYK and Boogie Borders that are exiting from the exact same building.
The thing is that they're looking to kill teams that are walking in with the zone right now, but there's 3 teams in this building, not counting the other southern end as well. It's gonna be mayhem coming up shortly.
I'm 50-50. I like what Fnatic is doing, challenging Furia for space, but this could still go really wrong for them. I mean, they're in the middle of smokes. They can't see. And unfortunately, Satsuki having fallen means that playing around these garden plots is near impossible.
They might have went down, but could they reset? Who knows? Like I said, when the zone is closing, everybody's focusing on each other, but they look like they got sent as well. Still fighting in the kill feed.
Boogie Borders, full send it trades for Fnatic, and Boogie Borders are the ones to go down. Fnatic can still reset as Aurora take a fight on the other side of the ring. Impulse makes the first swing, and the fight looks like it's going their way. Goodbye, Disguise.
Yeah, Furia is in a great spot as well. Aurora's in a safe spot as well. We'll have to see who Fnatic decides to join in on. Because it's a 3v3v1, I believe. And if they can close out that fight without getting punished for it, more kills might happen for Furia. But will Aurora punish them remains to be seen.
I mean, surely Fnatic die. Furia are very scared of overcommitting to this. Very scared of dropping a member, as they should be, because Aurora can and will swoop in for the cleanup. Nonetheless, double swing. Keon going down to the low ground through the smoke, takes out Fnatic, instantly rejoins Madness. That's one tactical of a cooldown, but it keeps hype for Furia up against Aurora.
It comes down to a 3v3 here. They managed to clean up that rat, but you know, with the zone pulling towards Furia, it is actually heavily favored towards them. Because Aurora has to leave the safe spot into the open. Do they have bang ult? Do they have smokes available? We'll have to see shortly if they can close this out, but I am heavily leaning towards Furia because all they have to do is ADS downside, hit their shots, and they will take this home.
There is one concern for me, and that is that Vaxlon does not have blood ult. There's not going to be a lot of visibility through smokes, so this single smoke buys Aurora a lot of space and time, depending on ult cooldowns.
Zones in general is scary, but as you can see with the smokes, you can actually see through smokes when the zone is on your back. And we'll have to see now if they can make something happen. You might not need the ult. Maybe the scan and nades are enough. We'll have to see.
Madness got cracked to 1 HP. Nades are thrown back. Up comes one from Aurora. And a tactical on the other side, the gravity lift just to maintain height, to disengage from Madness, keeps Fury on charge. Flank from the other side, they're taking the multi-angle approach. Arteki takes a swing. Keon commits to the low ground, takes down Arteki. Impulse has fallen. Furia from the high ground have one member left to deal with. Madness is committed down low, however. They swing back up. It's a wild goose chase. The Furia win, taking game 3 in style.
Furia played that textbook. They cleared out the northern side. They cleaned up the platform. They came to the bridge. TSM tried to roll it in. They cleared out TSM. They cleared out Reject and tried to push them while that was happening. They're just fighting everybody and they're winning every single time. They're so consistent, on the same page. I was a little bit worried when Aurora was able to cross that gap without getting punished. But as you can see, when it still comes to straight 3v3 gunshots, they are hitting every shot.
You know, it's really funny to look at this and say, okay, well, Furia did play that really well. But their rotation from near wall was a really risky one. They still had to go through the Rats of Gear, the Rats of Legends, move past Fnatic and TSM's whatever that was, and hold on to the height in the midst of all of it. It's a really difficult execution, and impressive that Furia were able to pull that off.
You know, I've worked with, you know, JMO as well on the team, their coach. I've seen Madness, I've seen Kun, I've seen Backman, I've seen all of them play, and they're all really smart players individually. I'm sure that, like, the fact that they can prioritize macro over getting kills, which a lot of people tend to do, they're like, oh, free kills, you know? They're like, no, we have to go straight into the power winning spot and hold it down, and they held it down indeed. I love when I see triple swings happen when they're holding hands, makes me warm and fuzzy inside.
Baxlon, the most recent pickup for Furia, no longer an unpaid intern, has been putting up pretty good numbers on Bloodhound. And like we talked about with the cooldown management, Bloodhound is such an important piece of the meta right now. Is able to clutch things up and finish off a lot of kills for the team. Showing up with 10 kills and only 3 assists. It's clear that for Furia right now, he's the finisher.
He's indeed the finisher, and Bloodhound has a huge impact on how your team plays the game. And I think that they're just on the same page. Seeing their abilities match up is really nice.
All right, well, thank you, Graceful. It has been a wonderful first 3 games on Stormpoint. We will be moving over to World's Edge, but before that, I want to hear from our desk.
Thanks so much, Graceful and Dia. Great job on those first 3 matches of the day. Lots of pop-off performances yet again from some of these teams. Some expected, some maybe expected later on the day, decided to do it now. Tiff, first of all, talk to me about what we just saw out of Furia.
Look, that's everything that we needed to see. I had a chance to sit down and talk to Madness yesterday over by the Furia merch booth, and he was saying the moment that he locks into that booth, he sits down, he pictures himself playing from his home setup, and despite not having, you know, been to land over the past few iterations of playoffs and championships, it felt right. He's like, the nerves, surprisingly, they're not even affecting me. And to come out and grab a win in group stages alongside Keon and Vaxlon, who is no longer the unpaid intern on that squad, it's probably got to be feeling really good, Hudson.
Yeah, no, I mean, this whole team is just riddled, not just Furia itself as a team, but like the players themselves have been riddled with constant team changes and turbulence over the years. You know, Madness, obviously, a great player, hasn't been to LAN in a long time. Vaxlon also a championship winner, for those that don't know, in the during the online championship. So they have a huge amount of experience playing with different teams, and it's really nice to finally see them pull together and actually be able to lock in. And they look really good. They might not have the points maybe that they want yet, but they do look really good as a solid 3 right now.
Now, another thing that we need to talk about, and we'll mention it while we kind of take a look at these match 3 results. Phenomenal slaying power out of Furia, just highlighted 18 kills to close out that match. I mean, like you're saying, that's got to feel incredible. But we're seeing some other teams up here, and for the first time on the first page, we're seeing TSM. We need to talk about what's going on with Red Rams and TSM, Jayhawk.
Yeah, this contest has been kind of crazy because in scrims, a lot of people were expecting, oh, it's TSM. This is our reigning champions, but Red Rams was showing they can compete, and then now on land, they're doing the same. 2-0 to start the day. In that 3rd game, they kind of forced TSM to back down a little bit and say, we need to get some points, so we're going to let you guys take Lightning Rod. We're just going to take some of the lesser loot and have to rotate. So they do get a couple points, which is big, but it's a very slow start because of that contest.
Absolutely, and just a quick shout out to Vaxlon. You guys were talking about how experienced he is. 10 of those 18 kills were his in that last match, so that is a fantastic Game 3 performance. As we take a look at the 2nd page here and see where the rest of our squads shook out. You see Reject, Winity, and Northeption. They're both with 6 and 5 kills respectively. But Geared Gaming, squad who wins that first match, Hotzig, now down here on the 2nd page.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see, again, another one of those teams that was popping up that, you know, I don't think you saw on anyone's tier list to do really well. And you see them come out with a huge win in game 1, which is really cool. I'd love to see them, obviously, match 3 didn't go as well, but like, you know, with these types of groups, especially if you were if you have a huge underdog stigma about you, you got to take the wins where you can get them, especially, and you got to learn from them, learn from the mistakes here, and I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of them.
Well, let's see where this puts all of our teams so far in the series. Up at the top, Reject Winity with 28 kills and only 9 placement points. That slaying power tip is insane.
It's fine. Just take down everyone by force. I know you and I were deliberating when we were doing our talent predictions this morning. You'll see later on throughout the day, we got iterations of Reject, Furia, Fnatic, Aurora, but it just seems to see that those teams have woken up this morning early on, got their caffeine, whatever that pre-morning ritual it is, it's working.
And it's pretty top heavy for these kills as well. I mean, Red Rams with the 20, Aurora at 15, Jayhawk. This is a dominant first half of this table.
Yeah, and some of those other teams that are kind of at the bottom of the leaderboard, that might be good, because if these teams are sucking up a lot of those points when we get to World's Edge, that could bring it to where you actually have an opportunity to come back if it's very top heavy at the top of that leaderboard.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, what do teams even have to start changing this? We've got 3 more matches now in the second half of the series, Hodsick. What are they going to do?
Well, I mean, some teams, the nice thing about 3 games, obviously, like the first 3 games you take a half. You have a bad half, it's okay, because you're not only coming back in with like a little bit of a break, you're going to a new map, right? So it feels like you're kind of starting on a fresh slate, even though you're obviously not. But teams like, I'm looking at like teams like 07, right? I've always, I think very highly of Nasky, but they've always been historically a feast or famine team. Either they're absolutely frying and having good vibes, or they're a little bit like they're looking right now. I'm hoping that they can do, maybe Nasty can give them a little bit of pep talk or something in between, because when that team is feeling good, I mean, they look very good. So I'm hoping the vibes improve a little bit with them.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they can do on our next 3 matches. Before we get into those, let's talk about our final circle moments from the first 3 matches. First one, match 1. Jayhawk, talk us through these moments.
Yeah, Geared Gaming. The story of yesterday was these teams kind of being a surprise and showing up, and like Hodsick said, they weren't really on anybody's tier list. They show up in this game and they get that win. They had a crucial rotate kind of the north side of this zone. We get one of those devastated pulls. It's a little ambiguous. Could be the high ground, could be the low ground. It goes over towards the cannon, and all those teams, Made in Heaven, Serenity, Fnatic, Reject, they all just have to fight for the south side. They kill each other. Geared comes in late and is able to get the easy win. But I do want to shout these guys out because they come from South America, and I don't feel like this region gets that respect, but they're showing up big in this game 1.
Yeah, that's something we had mentioned yesterday. Group B has 4 of the regional winners in that group alone. Geared Gaming obviously being the one out of South America, and able to get a win on the board to start off the day. We talk about how momentum is really important for some of these teams. Well, I think that's kind of given them a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, but now heading into match number 2, Tiff, tell me what happened here.
Look, we're going to kick things off from Legends Gaming's POV. Now, this is the team that was formerly known as Blackhand that made waves at Champs. They got Easy Flash unable to make it. They're subbing in Koiful, but while they're trying to lock down this, we don't see that happen because that spam of grenades just completely eats them, and they will fall to Red Rams. And this is where they really start picking up. You mentioned how many eliminations they had. Well, at this point in time, 6 of those were TSM members. So we are working for every elimination that we get. And throughout this moment, we were sitting there screaming because going up against Aurora in this fight here and isolated, it's the duo shift. They immediately start throwing it, and Datch hits that Pitfire, tries to connect a few, but it's Wyatt Chang and Tico that have to really throw down in the gauntlet here. The PK just starts throwing through, but can we talk about the burst on the Hemlock Man? Because that thing is disgusting this time. I had so much fun watching it, and then we've got Furia.
Yeah, Furia was doing a great job here on the north side of this river pool. Reject actually had, a little bit moments before this, Reject actually had a lot of the zone control for most of the game. They were controlling the southeast side for a lot of it, and then Furia got into a fight with a team, and then Reject tried a third party. Furia ended up killing both of them, and then that gave Furia this huge control over this massive high ground. Aurora took the previous spot, which is where we see these two teams go together. And I mean, Furia just kind of, they're playing this height so smart, right? This is why positioning is more important in Apex more than anything. You have the high ground, and you have a lot of your utility. You have a really good scan coming out of Vax there. Keon actually goes for a really wild swing here, but he gets a massive pick. Vax on the other end picks off Impulse, and then Madness brings it home for a massive win that I'm sure Furia really needed for their vibes.
Yeah, it's been a really strong start to our first series of the day here. Different winners every single time. We're seeing teams that need to get some points on the board doing just that. Other absolute surprises coming out of the likes of Red Rams. I can't wait to see what happens once we switch maps. Before we do that though, we did this yesterday. It's time to talk about our merch, all right? You guys have been absolutely selling us out on day 1. Not only our LA Nessie hoodie, but our t-shirt here as well. They're restocked. Go online, okay? PlayApexShop.com if you want an opportunity to get these ordered so that you can get one of these clearly desirable pieces of merch. First of all, incredibly comfortable, but they are only going to be available for this limited pre-order until the end of this weekend. So make sure you do that. Everybody has them now and everybody loves them. and now they have been restocked just for all of you at home. And then on top of that, if you guys want to be keeping up with all of the action here this weekend, or you want to see what's going on for the rest of our competitive ALGS year, follow us on social media, okay? At Play Apex Esports on X and YouTube, and at Play Apex on Twitch. Maybe tweet at us, let us know your thoughts for who the potential MVP could be, because we will always take a little bit of feedback on that. Shout some players out at the end of the day today as well, before we get into our bracket stage of the competition. Now, before we give it to the casters one more time, final thoughts on where we're at in the series so far, Tiff.
It's where we're at and it's where we're going. We all knew that Red Rams is going to be contesting TSM, but the job's not done for them because they're contesting at Climatizer, and this time it looks like they want to see if Omit has got the Omit effect.
Oh, I like it. Jayhawk.
And speaking of TSM, really terrible start on Storm Point. Now they're uncontested over at Lava Siphon. Can they bounce back on World's Edge? They haven't been the best on this map. They don't really like some of the changes that have come to Siphon, but they have to be in this set.
All right, Hot Tech.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to touch a little bit on the Red Rams as well. We know Aurora also likes Climatizer. Aurora opting to respect Red Rams, which is a really big. Aurora is one of the best team fighting teams in the game here. Yeah. I don't think anybody would argue that. So Aurora, if you remember yesterday, got they ran into one contest with them. It was a 2v2. Both teams ended up just kind of like respecting each other and being like, we're going to craft each other back up. But then Aurora left. So Aurora giving Red Rams a lot of respect in that regard, and they're just opting to go for Skyhook and Trials. So I think it says a lot about what Red Rams is bringing to the table.
Quite a few teams to be keeping your eyes on and see if their play changes as we change our maps over, because like we said, some opportunities abound for TSM to get some points on the board, not having to deal with a contest. Potential opportunities for these slay-heavy squads like Reject Winity just continue on that steamroll, not even currently worrying about their placement points, just trying to see who they can take out along their way through their rotations. I'm excited to see what everyone can bring to the table. I hope everyone here in the stadium is ready. You guys excited here at the Galen Center to get through the next part of this series? Absolutely love it. Vicky, Genome, let's get back into it.
Thank you so much, Glitter. Welcome, everybody. LA, are you ready for some more Apex? All right, we're done with Storm Point, out the window. We are moving on to World's Edge, Genome, and after that explosive game from Furia, I can't wait to see how things unfold, because teams that I was expecting to do pretty well, TSM, Liquid, what's going on here?
Yeah, and not only that, you know, you got Red Rams coming over the top, making the most of winning those contests. They're contesting yet again on World's Edge. So, I mean, hey, if they can take down TSM, maybe they can do it again against Omit, who they'll be taking on at Climatizer.
Can't wait to see how that plays out too, because we saw what happens when you go for these 50-50s, how that influences your legend comp. But I do like the decision that we saw from TSM in that last game, where they didn't go the conduit because they knew that they weren't going to go for the contest. They were going to be able to quickly rotate out of there. They have a different game plan going forward. Let's see how this is going to work out for them on World's Edge, a team that usually finds like success on Storm Point, as Legend has seen it. But now going on to World's Edge, can this keep this team up? We do not want to see this team fall into that elimination bracket. That would be absolutely insane here, as we get to see this nice little flyby of our squads. A lot of pressure here on our teams. I mean, these individual players, you know, are the best in the business for a reason. But this highlights the type of competition there is in a lobby like Groups B and C.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on their faces right there. Not too happy. 2 single placement points for those guys right now, whereas Gear Gaming, you know, I feel like they're going to be pretty happy after their first place in Game 1.
Yeah, they won Game 1 with 7 KP, but man, I mean, the team that's on my mind that I know a lot of people have been looking at, the team that won Game 2. Red Rams, maybe Red Rum, because that's what they're looking forward to here. Gotta spell that backwards, because that's what they're gonna be aiming for in this lobby as they terrorize the rest of this group. Can't wait to see how they kind of come up after they were able to not only take Game 2, but they took it with 11 KP. But Furia, the other Furia, is this gonna be the momentum that they needed before they now carry that 18 KP game into game number 4 on World's Edge?
It's been big for them. Boogie Borders that we just saw there. It feels like Panna may have donated a little bit of his hair to Fussy. It's a little longer than I saw last time I met him, Vicky. It kind of looks like he's giving me Point Break vibes.
Point Break?
Like, you know Patrick Swayze?
Yeah.
So if we see him miss his shots at some point, you know, he's probably just role-playing the classic scene. But.
Talking about the other side, though, Madness, meeting him in person, it's been a joy here, but it's also been great to see this entire team be cohesive. Vaxline, he's not the intern anymore, all right? They brought him in, all right?
Yeah,
He got
congrats.
promoted out here, officially with the Furia squad.
That's not bad. He's done probation after 1 day. Wish I could get through it that quickly.
Gotten through different type of probation apparently out here. Vax looking to keep that mentality up. But I do feel like when it comes to heavy fragging teams, I mean, we can't ignore Aurora, a team that has found that success with the lifeline, but a team that's also not afraid to literally hold forward, take any fight that they can. Unfortunately, in that last circle, they were at a positioning disadvantage, whereas Furia, they had the high advantage, but they had put themselves there to get out of the fray from all the other teams that were fighting by Cascade Falls.
Yeah, I mean, you say, you know, put themselves at a disadvantage. Of course, they only came second, right?
Yeah,
Already
right.
had 2 seconds in the 3 games that we played. And, you know, if you go back across some of the other games they played yesterday as well, you can see they've peaked at second so far, but every time they do it, you know, they can have as many as 14 kills. And, yeah, look, how risky they play. Well, it's not even how risky they play, it's how aggressively they play. It's so impressive that they can still put up as many placement points as they do, right? Yeah, the way they're just bullying their way into these final circles is just incredible to watch. Lifeline to boot. Yeah, we really love it.
And you know what I really like too? There's a lot to say about Aurora. This is a team that has been rocking the lifeline since before the mid-season changes. I mean, even with those changes, now you got your lifeline basically guaranteed that gold knockdown. But you know what also helps on top of that? Imagine having multiple gold knockdowns on that team like that, because this is a team that lands over by trials.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You got the lifeline care pack, you got the trials loop to work with. So this is going to be an interesting change moving on to World's Edge for this squad.
Yeah, and I think that's something else that we've seen a lot is unfortunately the lifeline going down first.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like obviously that's the character you're shoving the gold knock onto immediately, and as you say, you know, with trials that Aurora has access to in this group matchup, they might have a few of those. We're seeing some of our contests, in fact, both of them here on this screen right now. NDY, who have been doing a phenomenal job through day one, are going to have a tough time against Reject Winity, I would say, over at Fragment. And then you saw Red Rams, who kind of doing the same thing, putting their name on the map today, going up against Amit. I guess the other thing to note here is that Dome is free, potentially. You know, you've got Liquid landing down near launch site. Will they take Dome as well? Probably only if the other teams decide to leave that free. But with the 2 contests there is every option that one of them pulls down and decides to take that. I mean, it's never your first pick, but hey, sometimes it's better than walking away with 0 points, as TSM has found out all too well today.
Goes hand in hand with, you know, we got to talk about it, with where these circles have been pooling, as we have seen in the first day. Teams like Liquid really excel in those southern zones because they land over by launch site, but with those rotates, they're very volatile. Nice little flyby here. TSM not going to get 50-50 this time around.
No, finally they get Lava Siphon to themselves. Serenity playing over from Geyser here, an Apex South team that's actually done very well so far. The Controller players from there have certainly shown up quite well in one of their first LAN outings.
All right, let's get started, everybody. Game number 4 now underway. This is our first 50-50 that we get to witness right here over by this north side of World's Edge. Climatizer between Omit and Red Rams. Red Rams definitely making a statement here, but Omit, no stranger here for this team. They are going to be rocking the Conduit too, so that way they can excel in this 50-50.
Yeah, looks like everything else is as we expected. Liquid do get the split for Dome and launch site, and NDY are indeed going the contest against Reject over in Fragment. So 2 early fights coming on here.
Let's see how this plays out here for them. Being able to get the knock already off of Light. Huge here for Red Rams. Already nice explosive start here. But they drop down onto the low ground. I like this split positioning that we currently see from Datch. He's on the gondola right now while the rest of his team is going to take the gravity lift so that way they can get onto the high ground. They do want to prevent this reset from happening. Nice arc star. They also have a nade, so they could juggle around this like it's a circus. Man, the Senti shots off the rip, just so lethal. Misses that second one for right now. We also have a fight happening here with Bowling going down on the other side of the map.
Okay, well, this one seems to be happening in a little bit more of a hurry than the one over at Climatizer, so we'll switch over and have a look at Reject versus ND White. ND White do seem to have the high ground right now, but that's why you play the Horizon for these contests, exactly for this reason. Karampu, just having a look here, I mean, if you can get on the ultimate height here in the train station, it's very hard for the other team to push you. You can see they already have the knock there and the bleed out going onto Bolin.
NDY also getting eliminated out here, while NTH are going to be able to rotate out of this.
Right, yeah, so that wasn't even NDY. Yeah. They'd already dealt with it. It was actually North Eption coming in and having, trying to get involved. But with Yuka, Peridata going down, they're actually just going to have to back it out. I mean, so many teams, you see this at LAN just being like, oh yeah, that's some free KP, and they go in and all of a sudden, doesn't go to plan.
And they don't have a support legend either, so that's a to that res. No opportunity right there unless they are able to rotate back around and get the banner, but we're gonna have to see how that plays out while this fight is still going on. Taking a little bit too long for my liking, Genome, because this circle is going to be pulling a little bit to the north. Not over by Climatizer, but on the outskirts of Overlook. Maybe by those train tracks that we've seen before, or by the rocks that are to the north side of Overlook where we've seen these end circles before.
Yeah, so after the shots fired, they will just go ahead and split Climatize, but as you say, the team's heading definitely north of Overlook. I think that's a fair shout here, playing around the buildings towards the north Overlook, and the tower there I think is a good spot, that one right there. It still could finish, yeah, even more north towards the rocks as well, but I think playing this position within the Overlook POI and then moving your way into the rocks is honestly a little bit safer. When you're around those rocks, you can never keep all of the your line of sights locked down at once. If you're in the buildings, you can. There's a chance to really solidify your game a lot more from those positions.
And that's influenced by these legend compositions too. Of course, we're gonna have the majority of the lobby here running the Caustic, but we still have the little sprinkle of the Valkyrie from Made in Heaven. We see still the Horizon, and of course we can't ignore Disguise that still run the Wraith from Design, that they've made it work. Timmy being on the Caustic, or rather on the Bloodhound, and them having the Caustic too. But they are just going to wait patiently here. A lot of space to share over by Overlook, but you highlighted the rocks being a lot more open for these teams to have to focus on, whether it be from behind, but it's a very easy position to get pinched, especially since that fight over by Climatizer has still not ended, so we could expect at least 2 teams to rotate from that northern side.
Yeah, no, managed to split it in the end. No, mid have gone towards the circle, and Red Rams still just having a little bit of a loot over there. They may even make their way towards Made in Heaven, who are over at Survey Camp. Of course, with the Evo Harvesters in play now, teams do tend to gravitate towards each other outside the zone in those early stages a little bit more, because, they're not just taking predefined rotational paths. They have to go and grab that extra bonus Evo to try and upgrade their armors even faster. Getting to purple without hitting the objectives, extremely hard.
Especially when you go for these quick rotates too. Talking about different Legend comps, you still got the Watson out here from Legend. They're gonna be able to hold that truck for right now, but they are able to see 2 teams in front of them, while TSM, a team that went for the quickest rotate, have now been able to rotate not from the Alpha Siphon, but all the way from Geyser. They were able to get that ring console there too, see where the circle could potentially be pulling, but also going to be able to hold down the ring console to their backs and the Survey Beacon to their right. They can deny the opportunity for other spots to try to take this space and get the information that they need.
So in their first outing, TSM managed to grab 34 points. That is almost exactly what you need from each of your 3 group matchups to get into that winners bracket. Obviously, they're well off the pace in this second series, and they need to definitely bring it home here. But 10 points a game on World's Edge, very doable for those guys. They can drop a nuke if they're on their game. Talking about that though, 07, someone who's already got one of those in the bank from yesterday, and now they're going to take on Reject Winity.
It's whiplash. Seeing 07 perform, it's always, you never know what to expect, but I guess that's the nasty energy that you can see here in the competition as 07 engaging on this fight. Full purples here. Trying to get that tracking from Amphi with the bolt in hand. He's got the Nemesis on the other hand. Lots of energy ammo going to be expended here, but this is a good fight for them to take, considering the fact that Ubi still has a white Evo shield.
Yeah, as you say, as soon as you get a hit on that white Evo shield, right, that's the That's a sign, hey, we can bully them. There's no way they should be able to beat us with that much of a disadvantage. But at this point in the game, ultimates are up and they can stall it out for a little bit.
They're slipping and sliding all around 07. Nags gets called out by himself, though. No suppress fire from his team. His team didn't have the opposition in their line of sight. Now down one member and a 2v3 here, too. Gonna try to reset here with Reject Winity. Now double blue, one purple. They're able to get that evil shield up.
So Reject just running away from the caustic gas there, and in this game of Ring Around the Rosie, they have managed to get the better of Nags, and Sanctuary going down is a nice trade out here. These teams are really just struggling to work out where each other are. They need those Bloodhound scans.
Oh, that bag said bye. Quickly gets out of the line of sight of Oobly before getting caught sandwiched on the other side. Reject Winity. The patience wears off, and 07 immediately eliminated from the lobby.
I mean, I feel like both teams ran a marathon in that engagement, just going after each other the entire time. Down here over at Geyser, we've got a Liquid. You can see they're in a bit of trouble here, trying to deal with the bang ults, forced them indoors, but with two of them taken down already, might be time to get out.
El Presidente has to get out too because a third party is right behind them. Boogie Borders have made an appearance out of the vault doors. Liquid now just trying to run as a solo, while Tumyum Kun is going to be able to come right behind them, trying to see if they can at least find that solo. They take care of Liquid. Let's jump into a listening with Boogie Borders as they chase the other squad.
Going inside.
He's gonna go at the back.
Pretty sure it's one guy. He's fucking running.
Yeah, he's gone. Just loot and go back.
You know where the knocks are? Yeah, in the building. Just need to loot quick and go back to our spot. Ulti XL on this body. Yeah, popping it.
I got an AVAC.
Our traps are still there right now.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Need to head back. Yeah, I don't want to get stuck back here. I'd go knock, go down. Wonder if I could just solo sit down here. That'd be quick.
All right, well, they have to let Tom Young-Kun go there. Boogie Borders will go back towards the circle. They're happy with that, both position-wise and KP-wise. TYK very much on the outer now. Haven't got the information about that next circle pull. That's probably going to be the interesting one to show sort of which area of Overlook we are heading towards. Yeah, perennial pain in the backside. Pretty much every other team in this lobby. Aurora, you can see already on the red. One of those, real advantages of running the lifeline now with the evocations coming in at all times.
And we saw in the distance, Red Rams look like they are absolutely in shambles right now. They are not only split up, one's in the circle over by Climatizer, the other one is rotating without him on the outskirts of Epi, wanting no business with Aurora and Disguised. Close to the southern side of Epi. Let's see what they could do, though, because if Red Rams do manage to wrap around and maybe go to the Replicator, we know that they were running the Conduit, so maybe they could get their third in since they are a duo right now.
It's always a tough position to be in. We were just talking before about, how few teams are running support legends at the moment and giving themselves that option to go and craft a banner and then get your teammate back up. I mean, trying to grab the banner from the box and get the respawn is always so much riskier. Okay. So there we go. Circle pulls north, as we were talking about before. So I think the teams like, Elevate, Legends Gaming, Cloud9 that are all holed up in the buildings over there will be very happy about that. But Omit actually, taking the safe route and not engaging too hard on that initial contest might pay big dividends here, holding the north side of the rocks.
That's going to be one of the spots in that next circle that we were eyeing here, too. Later in the game, at this point, it's a pretty good spot to rotate to. Actually, Aurora already getting ahead of the curve here, too. May meet up with Omit shortly, but they're not the only ones alone here. Made in Heaven is to their left. Legends Gaming is also holding the south side of these rocks. At the moment, though, Aurora could use these rocks behind them for some natural cover. Having the Beast of the Hunt scan in less than 5 seconds now, but they do call out that there is a team that is right across from them that has a slight high ground. Watson Fence is painting the land on the other side here, while Made in Heaven do decide to try to take this low ground. They can't really engage on this fight with Disguise because they're holding a split position, but there's two other teams looking at them here.
Nade goes through the smoke here, hoping to catch someone off. soon as it dissipates, they're going to have a charged Senti. Playing the 2x here. Monsoon has changed the weapon meta at ALGS seemingly by himself.
Disguised, where are you going? What are you cooking? Just gonna be able to scout ahead real quick, bonk him in the head with the caustic barrel. But it's a patient wait here for Disguised. Seeing those Bloodhound scans coming out, at least he's got the Nox nade, that's gonna be important, whereas teams now coming in from the south side, we saw Tamyong-kun actually with that fight from Geyser had wrapped around to try to rotate from the southern side, closer to No Name, but guess who's waiting for them on the edge? It's gonna be Furia shortly.
Yeah, but also we've got Geared Gaming running into Boogie Boarders here. Boogie Boarders looks like they were in the better position, but did they have the intel? Do they know they were coming up on top of them?
Red Rams finally get eliminated in your feed. So do Legends Gaming. 14 squads left. The Beast of the Hunt has been activated from Fussy. They get the next knock here. Follow up with Raki and the finisher onto Reyna. Sending out these arc stars though, and this is the thing, playing off this lip here, off this high ground, they get the double nade, huge to control that space. The beams coming in as Geared Gaming get eliminated. 13 squads left, but an amazing position for Boogie Boarders.
Yeah, loving the calls from Raki here. Just a little bit of a disengage as soon as the bang ult, everything else dealt with. They feel like they're safe. They pop in and just start chipping away at the kills. Getting the better of Geared Gaming, and now they've also got Furia running tail between their legs. Do they make it into the tunnel? Yeah, it looks like they will. I don't think it's in Boogie Boarders' best interest to continue further with that pursuit. I think they should go back up here and start working on their next rotation to the circle. I mean, 40 seconds left. They've still got to get a fair bit further north. Looks like they were just hoping to grab some kills and continue on there, but you can see they are the furthest southern team right now. I guess the real question is, you know, do they have some evacs in their arsenal to maybe go over the top and hit one of those caravans which are currently unoccupied, or maybe even further north if they're reading that, and find a nice spot around the rocks here. But I mean, walking through TSM, look, they might be down on their luck right now, but I still wouldn't want to be taking that fight if I was Boogie Boarders.
Here, Moby in the distance. Reps gets brought in for TSM. Uncontested in this building, getting a chance at another life here. And you saw that cat picture of them, you know? Gotta have those 9 lives ready here on World's Edge. Evac tower is gonna get shot down. You were talking about the Evac tower before. Oh, can they destroy it? Oh, it looks like...
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, 2 of them were able to take it.
Yes, but not not all 3, so they actually circle back and they've got to go. You know, plan B now, right? I mean, that's why you do see teams pop 2 evacs. Let's have a listen to TSM as they get into this with Fnatic.
Look us out. We need to get inside the fucking building.
Go inside,
You gotta break the barrels. Break the barrels for us. Go inside. And look south. Look south, Evan. Look south right now at the front door. Smoking that. I didn't send anybody. I have 0 shields. 0 shields right now. I'm 4-0. I'm 4-1. I'm jumping into yourselves. There's bodies still beneath us. Yeah. I think I could loot those bodies. When you can if you smoke it. When do you have scan? 5. Is there someone on our height? Yeah, no, there's not. There's a people on tower, yes. We can wrap the north side, maybe. I'm gonna have to smoke the bodies. You're gonna have to look for me. Yes, go ahead. Jen might eat my shit. Oh my god, bro. This is really dog shit. I gotta wait for a double smoke. I'm gonna smoke tower. Jump that fight! Looking. One got Kraber.
While the stakes are high, the pressure's on here for TSM. C9 is pressuring them out. On the other side of the building, they scoop up what they can work with. Zach with the Kraber shot, taking care of Legacy and allowing TSM to maybe Loki rotate, but not for long. Zach Mazer in the feed with the Kraber, takes down Imperial How, and Aurora on your feeds here. Boogie Boarders get eliminated.
And that's where the lifeline res comes in handy. Aurora were sandwiched there. TSM, not so much, but they still have to win this versus Elevate.
And he gets the finish on How with the Kraber. Next moves have to be put into play here as Aurora They are farming the west side of this lobby.
I mean, I thought they were done for sure, but somehow getting the resets just time and time again. Hardecki's back into it. Multiple gold knocks as we were talking about. I mean, this is crazy how many teams Aurora have just pulled through in like the matter of 2 minutes. Full red armors, so much opportunity for those resets. As you can see, I mean, how many times did they get knocked in the last 2 minutes? And they're all back up, they're all healthy, and now they're going to be challenging Amit for Godspot.
And Amit has not moved from there, so we could probably expect that perhaps Aurora's the only team in the lobby that I think has full reds. We're gonna have to see here as Elevate also looking to reset. They take care of reds earlier. Burros gets bled out and TSM get eliminated. Our 4 squads left in this game 4.
I mean, I thought Aurora were done for, but now all of a sudden they're going to be the bane of Elevate, maybe even Cloud9 as well. Amit to the left of your screen here are not engaging. They very much want to walk away with that top 2, top 3 positioning and just ensure they get the placement points. But Elevate have worked hard to get to this position. It's going to be even harder to get out of it.
See how they navigate around this rock with Zap being so incredibly low. He needs to reset here. He needs to suppress fire as Zach tries to get into a different angle, but he cannot see through this smoke. He's got the Havoc, spray and pray here, but he's lost on both his teammates. Aurora coming in, Elevate, get eliminated. Aurora is here to keep farming. 3 squads left. It is Omen now officially versus Aurora in this 2 squads left in the lobby.
But Aurora have done so much here that they're on triple reds. Amit, however, have been biding their time. They've still got blue. It doesn't matter if Aurora's taken damage. They're still pretty much even as far as the available health goes.
A little bit of distraction there. The evac.
I think Amit have actually waited too long here. There was an opportunity to kind of try and take that fight, but now they've let them reset. A crazy R9 spray.
I thought this weapon was bad here in this season with 56 bullets, only a blue mag. Lufka coming in with the beams. Light getting Oi Rain. And now swapping around with the melee. Oh man, even with the Evil Shield disadvantage, deep thrown Aurora for game number 4.
Oh, that boy Lufka. He walks away with 4 kills and a win to their name. I mean, we looked at that circle pretty early on, right, Vicky? It didn't seem to be a hard one to read. Northern Overlord, sit at the rocks. I was expecting a lot more teams up there, actually. I think almost too many teams were taking our advice of sort of, sitting within the buildings at Overlook and playing it safe. Amit had basically nothing to worry them for the entire game. No one, there were no full sends, right? Usually you'd see 1 or 2 teams at least be like, hey, that's Godspot. We're not in the greatest position. Why don't we try and take it away from them? Never happened. Didn't bother them at all. So they finish up with 5 kills. And yeah, not even that much damage. That's what I'm saying. Like 1,800 damage to win a game means they actually didn't need to fire that many bullets to keep people away from them. People were just going down that route themselves.
That was off of them having the 50-50 versus Red Rams.
Yeah.
Rotating on the north side of Climatizer, avoiding the teams that had rotated already, and then sitting pretty in that final circle position. Even if they weren't doing a lot of damage, what I enjoyed was looking at how they were able to acknowledge the win condition for that final fight. Such as, yes, they may have 2 gold knockdowns, but the target priority there was a lifeline that couldn't take control over the high ground, which was the main purpose of the evac tower that was called in front of them. It wasn't to take the evac tower, it was simply to use that evac tower to get on top of that rock, to get high ground positioning, and to be in a way better spot to beat them from down below. But Omen already closed that gap here. As we take a look at the game 4 match results here, I love that little pop-up that we saw, but we're gonna take a look at Aurora and what they were able to do, because Genome, that was 26 kill game for Aurora.
Over the 4 matches. Over the 4 matches.
I was like, okay, that is actually what? That would have been crazy. Okay, so over the 4 matches, they had 26 kills. Still, regardless, 14,000 damage dealt over the 4 matches is crazy.
It is. That's an unreal amount that they're putting out here. But what's even crazier to me, honestly, is that they still haven't won a game. That's 3 seconds in a row. Look, I get matching your jewelry and whatnot, but maybe they should try on some gold instead of silver for once.
Just a matter of time, right? Surely it's just a matter of time. I mean, they got 2 more games left. We got to see here. They come in second with 11 KP, omit 5 KP, which is still fantastic for this squad. They were still able to pressure out teams like Elevate on the other side of the rocks without giving away their positioning. Looking at teams like E8, we saw them holding that house with 7 KP, even all the way down. TSM getting top 5. That is huge here on World's Edge after the performance that we saw for the first 3 games on Store Point.
Fury picking up a couple as well down there with Reject Winity, and then as we go further down, of course, we've still got some other teams not doing so well. Red Rams finally have a bit of a shocker there with a 0-point game. Obviously, they didn't have to, that wasn't like a 20th place, we just lost the contest immediately, but they still do struggle to get through there without the POI to themselves.
And we saw what happened to Liquid Alien, where unfortunately losing out to Tum Yung Kung, but in their rotate from Geyser. Couldn't get away in time. Another lackluster performance here. Very uncharacteristic for this squad as we take a look at the series results overall after the course of these 4 games. Aurora still stay in first place with 53 total points. A little bit of a gap between them and Reject Winity.
Yeah, okay, so that's pretty much qualifying for winner's bracket already for Aurora, right? They're over 100 points already in the overall standings, and that means that, yeah, we will see them in the winner's brackets. And now you really get that opportunity to start molding this tournament as you see fit, right? That's when, if you really want to, you can start hunting people down, taking out other squads who might potentially be looking to take over your drop spots later on in the tournament. You know you're safe. There's no reason not to just go for it now.
That's such a good point here, too. And with the fans and the crowd trying to give these teams the energy, Graceful actually highlighted it earlier that I don't know if the general public understands how much energy cheering and supporting your teams out loud in the arena really helps with the morale of the whole squad, preventing the tilt from really coming on, especially if squads see the opportunity where they can try to grief you. I mean, we're gonna have to see. We still have 2 more games left, but the action has not stopped. I wanna hear from you peeps. I wanna hear the action that's been going on in the crowd. Tell us how everything's been going here.
Vicky, thank you so much. Apex, what up? I am here with the crowd. They are going crazy. Let me tell you something. If you missed ALGS LAN here in LA, you are missing out, all right? Don't miss out on the next one. But I got some familiar faces here. We got Drum Bum, we got Morg. Guys, tell me your favorite part of ALGS LAN.
No, I'm not gonna lie. It's watching these guys fry up here on stage and seeing these amazing people go crazy for this game that we love, man. It's the best thing in the world, baby.
To piggyback on that, to feel inspired by the pros, the creators here, everyone who came out to support such a beautiful organization, and to see all the homies, of course.
Let's go! So to my right, I got Dre Nilla and I got Deridium. Fellas, who do you have winning ALGS LAN this weekend?
Ooh, winning the entire tournament. Well, I'll tell you who I don't want to win. TSM and DZ. They won too much. We need an underdog to win. Let's go, Furia! Let's go!
That's fair. Deridium, what about you? Who do you have winning ALGS LAN in LA this weekend?
I'm also 100% rooting for an underdog team. I want to see an OXG win.
Let's go! Well, that's it from the crowd. It is insane here. If you missed it, don't miss the next one. Vicky, take it away.
Thank you so much, peeps. Shout out to the crowd here at LA. It's giving me energy as well. It's been a fantastic time in the Galen Center and also watching these pros play their lives out because we still got 2 more games here for groups B and C.
Yeah, look, shout out. There was, I think it's the Apex podcast. We had one of the creators there, one of the longest running podcasts we've got for Apex Esports. Lots of history going down on that one. I would advise you all to check it out. But no doubt there will be more stories coming here today from 20 teams we've got in this lobby. So many doing so well, frying. I mean, Aurora, teams like that we expect, but also some teams like Red Ram who've shown up today. in a way that perhaps not as many expected.
Time to see where the circle pulls this time here. Our mortal enemy.